Some decks feel instantly familiar, others not so much, and this one's been a bit of a challenge. Dracula Tarot of Transylvania by Ricardo Delgado is filled with dark Gothic imagery, pulling from one of the most famous horror stories ever told. But as much as I should love this, there is something about it that just isn't clicking for me. So let's take a look and maybe you will see something that I'm missing. Hi, my name is Jay and this is Lunacore Tarot, where I bring you weekly tarot and oracle deck reviews to inspire your readings. Today's deck was published by Clever Press, the US publisher, and it's a new release this year. And the deck was created by Ricardo Delgado. He's an American artist and a writer who was involved with movies like Apollo 13, Men in Black, and he also created a comic series called Age of Reptiles, which I haven't seen, but it won the Eisner Award. And this deck shows Ricardo's fascination with classic horror stories and draws inspiration as a figure from legendary tale of Dracula. So in this review, we will look at the box, the guidebook, the quality of cards, and do a flip through. Of course, that's what you're here for. I will also do a one card read, and if you stay until the end of the video, I'll give you my honest review on who this deck is for, and also give you a quick sneak peek into my next week review. So it's a pretty sturdy deck. I quite like the quality of the deck. It's a very thick cardboard and it's got little magnets. Nice touch. I've seen a few of them now. So inside of the box, nothing that you wouldn't expect. It's a deck and a little guidebook, and we'll go through it in a second. Let me just show you a couple of cool things about the packaging here. So as I mentioned, the magnets, you can see it's like a nice touch. Inside, I think it's Dracula's coffin, and you see all the zodiac signs here. And inside of it, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you probably figured if it's a Dracula's deck, this is actually our guy. So yeah, nice box. And the guidebook is all right. It's color, right? So it's not a little white book. It does have a bit of a artistic feel to it. You won't find anything that you wouldn't expect here either. So it's a bit of a story. So the idea behind this deck is that the author, apart from his fascination with monsters, he also talks about how vampires have a predestined future and they really don't have much choice of what's going to happen to them. They end up with a stake in their heart, or some other bad story. I'm sure you've seen vampire movies, you know what happens. And you were saying that the cards can actually help you, unlike vampires, to peer into your future and then change it based on reflection. And he talked about his experience growing up in Costa Rica and deep connection with his family and spiritual experience, and how he grew up with monsters in his childhood. Obviously, they were going to church and seeing some plays and the festivals and things like that. So he's basically, this deck is something that he thought about for quite some time. Now the deck uses color here as well. The guidebook, and we'll talk about the guidebook at the end when I give you my view on who this deck is for. But this is the guidebook, and let's look at the cards. So how this deck is structured, it's using traditional structure like Marseille or Rider-Waite. So they replaced pentacles with coins, and also I think instead of pages they're using valets. But other than that, it's pretty standard classic deck structure. The cards measure 304 millimeter thickness, which is pretty good. It's easy to shuffle the cards with that thickness. We're going to do a flip through now, and I'll point out some of the characters that stood out for me. So the Fool is Emperor Constantine, which apparently was one of the key figures in early Christianity and the nemesis of Dracula. And I wouldn't be able to tell that's actually Emperor looking at the cards. Quite interesting. So this fellow here, the magician, is a minor demon called Cockatrice from Dracula's supernatural world. This lovely lady here is Lilith, and she's a mom of Dracula. So you're going to meet the whole family here. The Empress is Dracula's wife, Venus, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because you start seeing the planets, and not from this one, but you're going to see zodiac signs here. So this is the lucky fellow himself, Dracula, Mars and Aries representing him. And I'm not going to point out all the zodiac signs, but this is, I think, a nice touch if you want to connect zodiac to this. The Hierophant is a skeletal librarian, Enzo, I think his name is, from the story. This is probably one of my favorite cards. So these are brides of Dracula, Venus, Andromeda, and I can't remember the last one. I think it's Petra. I don't know who this fellow is, but he's equally terrifying, I think, for me. The Strength card. This is interesting. So this is a weary cat. I think that's how you pronounce it. And then it should represent, in traditional tarot, the strength is a soft power, the compassion of love. Where here, I think it's the opposite, because this animal completely took over the human nature, and you've got this creature sitting here. So I guess it's almost like a reverse card. Very interesting choice. I do like the Hermit. So this is a spirit, a ghost that is trapped in a candle from Dracula's castle. You can see it here, and it's trying to escape using the light, but he's not able to, in solitude, been lonely and locked in this thing. Wheel of Fortune, I think there's some imagery here connecting it to the ever-changing, the Wheel of Life. Justice, another interesting one. So this is Lamia, the monster has been terrifying children, right? And I'm not sure what the connection is here, if Lamia was only punishing bad kids, what have you, but interesting choice. The Hanged Man, this is a corpse or ghost of the slain soldier that haunts travelers on the way to the Dracula's castle in Transylvania. Well, this is a death card, and it's obvious that it's something scary, so it's not actually mentioned here, but very terrifying. These are, I think, unnamed witches. So Temperance is one of them. You'll see another one showing up soon. The Devil is, I told you, you're going to meet the whole family here. So the Devil is Dracula's dad, believe it or not. The happy-looking fella is more terrifying than the son. I do like this card here, the Tower, and it feels to me that it actually is coming out of there like they're having some great party. This tower is not even bothered by this little like lightning trying to hit it. I don't think anything is happening. If anything, they're just going to be very excited that, you know, an extra beam of light's been added to their party or something. The star, that's another unnamed witch that I mentioned, and those stars here represent human chakras, strangely enough. The moon, this is the wolf from the Transylvania, the story of Dracula lore. Some, believe it or not, this is actually, I think, spirits of some kids haunting people. Judgment, it reminds me of the Fly movie from the 80s. If you've been around that time, you probably think of that, the human turning into a fly. And the World card. The World is trying to remember now. I think the World is representing a end of cycle. This is an unholy mother, so I'm not quite sure what that character is, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go to the minor arcana here, and let me just tell you something. So this deck is interesting in that you're not going to see a lot of characters here. I think the artist took the path of least resistance, missing out on great opportunity to give you cards to play with day-to-day life, I think, through some connecting imagery, right? But nevertheless, there are some good examples of the cards here. So this is the ace, and this is what I meant. You basically go right into the minor arcana with. So these are coins. Not much to say here, you know. Just his coins keep changing to more coins, looking this exactly the same as the other coins, and I don't know what to say, to be honest. I think this is yeah, this is quite interesting choice. Let's say the coins look really cool though, but no imagery whatsoever. And now this is the court cards. This is Valley of Coins. Some of them do have a meaning, and some just characters from the lore. But most of them will say it just represents something rather than giving a name and a bit of a story, right? The coin is like a baby snatching monster. So this is the Queen of Coins and the King of Coins. I'm not sure what it looks like. It's some kind of a demon. So this is a cool looking card. Now we're into the realm of swords, and again, you're not going to see anything exciting. There's a katanas on this. Again, I'm not sure what symbolism they have, given it's a Japanese sword, but the swords themselves look cool. Let's get a new one, green one here, another one, and another one here. So more swords and more swords. And now we got into the valley. Yeah, it's a scary looking demon here, another one here, demon with some little friends floating above the head. This is a knight, and this is a queen. I don't know if you feel the feminine energy from this one. I'm not sure. So yeah, if you can see the sign on them, I cannot see the signs of them. I have to be honest. I'll talk about this at the end, right? So what I think about what the good purpose of this deck is, and everything that I liked, and maybe something that I didn't resonate with. Ace of Cups. No surprises here. We're gonna see lots of cups, more cups, and more cups, more cups, and more cups. More cups, and you guessed it, there is more cups, and this is a 10 of cups, or 9 of cups actually, and 10 of cups, and now we're going to see some imagery. So this is supposed to be I think one of the rare ones that actually has a name. I think it's a hand of glory from the lore, and it's like a detached hand from a corpse or something. If you know any of the heroes here, or characters I should say, from the lore, please let me know. That's a cool card. I do like this one. Curious to know what this one is. It's on top of it. It's like a burning branding almost. This is a cool card. I think this guy does not fit in here. I mean, he's just like such a happy looking character. The Ace of Wands, just sitting there and chilling. I think if I fall author, I'll probably put this guy on the top of the deck. And now, as you have guessed it, we're going to see a lot of wands, and more, and more, and more, and more. They're cool looking wands, right? They look like a wands a magician would use to cast a spell, I think. Like, especially these ones. So good, look like this. Look a little star there. It's like a witch wand. That's kind of cool. I do like that. Unrecognizable looking thing. I'm not sure what that is. There's some symbolism here, and we've got this is our Knight of Wands, equally terrifying, and the Lady of the Wands, Queen, scary, and the King of Wands. So here's a deck. Let's do a one card read. You will see how this works in practice. By the way, if you haven't noticed this, if you have the Starman Tarot deck, or if you want to look at my review I did, this to me looks very similar to the design of that deck in terms of the colors used and the diagram. Maybe it's even the same publisher. I'm not quite sure, as in where they printed the deck. But yeah, very cool. The cards feel nice. Do you like this shine here? I do like that. That's one of the cool features of this deck. The size is a bit awkward because you need to stretch the grip a tiny bit because they're slightly taller cards. But I'm not going to do a good job here with shuffling, so I'm just going to pick one. I'm What do you think? Which one should I? Okay, let's grab this one. All right, what do we get? Ooh, a favorite. All right. So this is the wands. I'm not sure if I'm holding it the right way or the wrong way. They kind of looks the same. Oh no, that's the right way. Now you'll see how the book works like, right? So obviously there's a deck here and there, all that stuff, and description of the cards, and then some spreads. Nothing you would not expect here. And this is the actual how the meaning of a card is presented to you, my friend. So this is what we're looking at the 7 of Wands, which is this guy here, and it represents strength and perseverance, which is similar to a traditional deck, but miss out on a lot of meanings here, don't you think? So let me tell you what I like about this deck and what did not connect with me. I like the quality of the deck. I think that was cool, right? This part here, I do like it. I think the fact that they used the this red, metallic red here, I think it's amazing. The coating, it looks pretty good. The quality of the deck, I think it's good. The box itself, very sturdy, very thick, right? And let's talk about what is not good. I think this deck missing out on a lot of opportunities that could have been done. Vampire lore is massive. Oh, by the way, look at this too. I just shuffled it once. I only used it a couple of times, and you already have the blemish here. So that's probably what's going to happen eventually, I think, with this coating. Yeah. So the lore of vampire lore. I mean, how many movies, how many books, comic books, cartoons are out there? I don't know. Theater plays, right? And so much could have been done with the lore. I mean, look at this. It's, to me, you see all these missed opportunities here with coins. Do you see that? I think the major arcana may have been presented well, but there have been a lot done here. So the inclusion of zodiac and planet symbols, I think it's really good, right? I like that. I like that you don't see it a lot in decks. Now, the deck, I think that's probably, I talked about what that is, what my concerns are with it. Book itself, if you want to read a card, you need to have more on this. Unless it is expected that I already know the meaning, just mentioning the sorrow or grief or change in movement, how would you be able to use it? I'm not quite sure. Another annoying thing, and I'm getting a little bit picky, it's not a huge thing, but it's still, for some reason, the knights and pip cards are separated from each other, and you would normally see that the court cards will start from the small card, like the lower rank card. In this case, because they're like trumps, right? You start with aces and you go up all the way to tens, and then you go to pages, or in this case, valets. But they start with the king for some reason. So you go from a king down to queen and all the way to valet. And if you're reading it, it's kind of like a little bit annoying that you kind of go in like, oh, okay, so I got the king, and maybe here I'm just going to go back and there's nothing here, right? So I think this deck is not for someone who just starting out. I think this is not even a deck for someone who wants to read cards, because how would you read this? You would have to have a prior knowledge of a suit, and I like what's the idea of that. When you read a deck, you should be using the book and the idea, the structure, the mythology, the lore that came with it, rather than projecting, let's say, Rider-Waite-Smith deck meaning to these cards. You cannot do this with this because there's just not enough information there, right? And that brings me to only one conclusion, that this deck is for someone who loves comic books, who love the lore, the story of the vampire, and this could be an awesome gift for someone who is not going to use this deck for reading, and they're just going to have it as a really cool looking, and it is cool looking. Look at this. I mean, it's pretty and shiny, and there's a lot of artwork went into this. They're going to keep it in their collection, and I have not reviewed or have seen a lot of Gothic dark looking decks. And because of that, maybe I'm not giving this deck a justice. And if you have one of these decks in your collection, I would love to know how you use it. What do you use it for? What type of readings? Or you just a beautiful looking deck in your collection? Please let me know. Now let's talk about our next week review. And this is the deck I'm excited about because from what I understand, there have been a few of these released, different type. So this, while it says 2024 deck, is actually only, they started selling it only in 2025, so it's new. And it's one of the decks by US Game System, which I haven't reviewed any before. I looked at the imagery on the internet, haven't opened it yet, but I think it's going to be a pretty one. If you like this video, you know what to do. And if you want me to review a particular deck or something that you liked about my review, or maybe didn't like my review, leave me a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.